Camera number 394 is the Minolta Riva Zoom 105i. To call it a point and shoot, which effectively it is, would be to do a disservice to the camera. Minolta were trying to push the boundaries of what was possible in photography at the time. In fact, just looking at the manual, they seem to have felt that they've accomplished quite a bit with this camera. I'll just read the introduction. It says, "Thank you for purchasing this camera. Integrating state-of-the autofocus and auto-exposure systems with a 3x zoom lens. It provides both simple operation and outstanding image quality. We hope it will bring you many years of satisfying results." Will it bring satisfying results? Well, maybe reserve your judgment to the end of the video when you see the images that were produced with the camera. But in the meantime, let's just discuss some of the functions and features of the camera. It requires batteries to operate, or a battery to operate. It's housed in the base here, a 2CR5 battery, and it can only go in one way, the terminals facing downwards. And then while we're on the base here, we have a tripod mount and two thumb positions for gripping. Interesting there. And then almost inconspicuous, almost can hardly see it, a mid-roll rewind reset button, which we have to have a little pointy thing to activate that. Looking at the front of the camera, we have the Minolta zoom, which is 35 to 105, f4 at 35 and f6.7 at 105. As I mentioned in the introduction with the manual, it is an autofocus auto exposure camera, so you really have no other controls. There are no creative controls available to the user. And then just on the top, on the left here, we have our zooming in, telephoto and wide angle. We zoom the lens out. First of all, it would be good to turn it on. Let's just do that. We have an on-off switch. And then to zoom the lens out, that seems to be its outermost point, 105. Now, I'm not sure about this camera. It does have an issue with the zoom lens. It doesn't go back in when I... There we go, there's 105. Maybe when I try and zoom it in, it doesn't go in, so I have to actually push that in. So I have great suspicions about this camera, whether it will actually produce the images that Minolta said I would get, but we'll see. Also on the top we have our shutter button, which we can half press and hold the auto exposure, focus, and then perhaps readjust our image if we want to. If our image, our person is in the middle, we want it slightly off, then we can point it, hold it down, recompose, and then take the image. Unfortunately, mine suffers from a liquid crystal display that doesn't work, so normally this would work, giving you information about the status of the flash. You have various modes of flash, it being on, you can have fill-in flash, you can have it off, or auto, and a self-timer, but unfortunately that is not available to me, so there's a bit of guesswork, which is a shame because I don't really like to have the flash come on, so I could cycle through it, but there is an element of chance there, I suppose. Not sure what's going to happen. It has a data back, which is of no interest to me, but if it was, it does have a separate battery. Just turn that off. A separate battery that's housed in this little compartment, just here. And then we just drop our film in and we'll put it across and then just line it up with a little red marker here. Okay. Little window to show that we have film in, but of course we could see if our liquid crystal display was working. Now, one of the advanced features of this camera is that it has an IR, infrared sensor, that when you put your eye up to the viewfinder, it starts the autofocus function, and the APZ, so there we go, Advanced Program Zoom. And the idea is that we put our eye up to the viewfinder here, we switch on the autofocus, and then the camera will actually take over. And again, I'll go to the manual because it describes it much better than I can. It says, among the camera's most innovative features is Advanced Program Zoom, which automatically selects a suitable zoom setting based on subject distance. Now, of course, for many of us, that sounds like a disaster. The idea of the camera deciding what to focus on. So there is an override. You can just use the telephoto or wide angle zoom buttons on a per picture basis. In other words, you can override it, but then the next photo it will come into operation. So to permanently turn it off, we just have to press the telephoto and wide buttons together, and then that deactivates this feature, and then you're free to use the telephoto and wide angle on your own without any interference from the camera. So there you go, that's pretty much it as far as the camera goes. So here's a few photos that the Riva produced.